You've been told too much salt is dangerous, but the real danger might be in not getting enough of it. Eating too little salt can actually raise your blood pressure, make you feel more tired, and even increase your risk of death. I'm Kait, a nutritionist who specializes in insulin resistance and blood sugar control. And today I'm going to be sharing some of the hidden risks of eating a low salt diet, things your doctor probably won't tell you. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why sodium is essential, the dangers of going too low, and how to find the right balance for your health. Before we get into the harms, let's quickly talk about why low salt diets became so popular. For decades, health guidelines have recommended limiting sodium to less than 2,300 milligrams per day, which is about 1 teaspoon of salt. The idea is simple: less salt, lower blood pressure, and a lower heart disease risk. And while that sounds good on paper, the reality is much more complicated. Research is now showing that when you cut salt too low, it doesn't always protect your health. In fact, it can backfire in ways you wouldn't expect. So let's talk about some of the harms of not getting enough salt in your diet. The first one is that it can actually increase your blood pressure. And I know that might sound shocking. And this is the exact opposite of what most people think. But it actually makes sense because sodium plays a role in balancing fluids and helping your blood vessels relax. When levels drop too much, your body compensates in ways that can push blood pressure up, not down. The second thing that can happen is that it can increase your heart rate. Low salt levels can increase your resting heart rate by up to 4 beats per minute. And that might not sound like a lot, but it actually is. It might not sound like much, but over time, a higher resting heart rate means more strain on your heart and cardiovascular system. It's like your engine idling faster than it should, burning through energy and wearing down sooner. The third thing that can happen is that it can negatively impact your exercise performance. Now, you might think this doesn't matter, you're not an athlete, but here's why you should care. Sodium is essential for muscle contractions and hydration. Without enough, you feel weaker, more fatigued, and prone to cramping. Exercise feels harder, your endurance drops, and recovery takes longer. So even if you're not an athlete, even daily moving, even walking around, you can feel more tired. The fourth way it can impact your health is that it can cause your insulin and your glucose to go up. Low sodium has been linked to worse blood sugar control. It can raise both insulin and glucose levels, making insulin resistance worse. So if you're someone who's already struggling with prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, or PCOS, a low salt diet could be actually working against you. See, salt takes the blame when there are so many other factors at play. Yes, consuming salt can raise your blood pressure temporarily, but just because something happens acutely doesn't mean it causes it to happen chronically. And by that, I mean exercise causes your blood pressure to go up when you're exercising, but over the long term, we know that it actually causes your blood pressure to go down. High blood pressure isn't the cause of heart disease. It's actually a symptom of insulin resistance. So instead of focusing on salt in an effort to lower your blood pressure, which isn't actually going to solve the problem, address your insulin resistance instead. Now, one question I get a lot when I talk about salt is people want to know how to get more into their diet. Because yes, you can salt your food. Yes, you can add salt to your water, which not everyone likes the taste of. But this is where a high quality electrolyte supplement can come in handy as well. When you cut salt too low, or even when you just exercise or sweat, you lose sodium and other electrolytes like magnesium and potassium. That's why you feel tired, headachy, or weak after workouts. So dehydration salts are designed to replenish exactly what your body needs. I personally use them when I'm fasting, when I'm training, and when I'm traveling, because they make it so much easier to stay energized and hydrated. And if you're worried about not getting enough sodium, Sodi is a really simple way to bring your body back into balance. If you want to check them out, they ship worldwide. You can head to healthcoachkait.com/Sodi electrolytes. I'll put that link in the description box down below and use code HCK15 at checkout to save 15% off your order. I really love Sodi because it's one of the few electrolyte supplements on the market that actually has a good level of sodium, while also having no added sugar, no artificial sweeteners, and no other weird ingredients. It's been my go-to for years, so I highly recommend, if you are experiencing any of the side effects of a low sodium diet, to give Sodi a try. Another risk of low salt diets is changes to your cholesterol and triglycerides. Studies have shown that low salt diets can increase triglycerides and also lower HDL, which is the good cholesterol. So while you're trying to protect your heart by cutting salt, you may actually be raising your risk. And the final thing that can happen is it can actually increase your mortality. And I know this got serious pretty fast. Research shows that people on very low salt diets have a higher risk of all-cause mortality and cardiovascular mortality. In other words, cutting salt too aggressively doesn't just affect your day-to-day energy or exercise, actually shorten your life. So what's the solution? Should you just start dumping salt on everything? Not exactly. There is a balance here. Now, for people who are eating a diet that's high in processed food, there isn't really a concern here because processed food is loaded with sodium. It's when people start trying to improve their health that low salt can become an issue without even knowing it. Because when you cut out the processed food and you focus on whole foods, you're not getting all that excess sodium. And look, I'm not saying that processed food is good, but that's why a lot of people who start to eat a whole food diet, or especially if you eat a low carb diet, will experience things like muscle cramps and headaches. A large part of this is low electrolytes, and specifically low sodium. And especially if you're active, if you sweat a lot, if you use a sauna, and like I said, if you're eating a whole food diet that doesn't include much processed food, you might experience signs that you're not getting enough sodium, such as frequent headaches, muscle cramps, dizziness, or low energy during workouts. And the good news is, if you consume too much salt for what you need, your body can easily excrete it. So to wrap up, there are big risks to cutting your salt too much. Things like higher blood pressure, increased heart rate, worse exercise performance, higher insulin and glucose, higher triglycerides and lower HDL, and even higher mortality. Salt is essential for life. Sodium is an essential electrolyte. Now, I want to hear from you guys. Have you ever eaten a low salt diet? How did you feel? Did you see your health improve or maybe worsen? Let me know in the comments down below. And before you go, if you want to check out Sodi's everyday hydration salts, I'll put that link in the description box as well. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.